Who won the NFC East draft? I'm going to get into that and more in this particular video. But before I do, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. If you haven't done so already, turn on your bell notification icons for the latest and the greatest in Cowboy sports and news. All right, guys. So the question of the day is, who won the NFC East? And so to get into all that, guys, we got to run through these draft picks just real quick. And hey, we'll take it from there. And I'm going to grade these guys as I go. And I'm going to be honest and give my honest opinion. And I want to know what you guys think. I want to know if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, your thoughts about this particular draft. All right, because we know that this is an arms race. And we know that, hey, he who wins the draft normally wins the NFC East, at least over the most recent 2 to 3 years. And I think some teams have been doing a good job. I think some teams have been doing a bad job. And I think other teams have been doing an okay job. All right. So with our draft pick, guys, as I'm sure you're very familiar with, the first pick, we picked Mazi Smith. The second pick, we picked Luke Shoemaker out of Michigan, the tight end. Then we picked Demarion Overshawn, the linebacker / safety out of Texas. Then we pick Asim Richards, the offensive tackle out of North Carolina. Then we pick Eric Scott. Then we pick Deuce. Then we pick Jalen Brooks, wide receiver out of South Carolina. All right. And so, hey, guys, you know, this draft overall, I mean, it was, in my opinion, for the Cowboys as it stands today. And this is subject to change based upon the play, the performance, and several factors as we get into the regular season. But I want to say, as it stands today, I mean, this draft to me is a B to a C- draft. It's not a shocker where we made a splash and we just got somebody that could immediately come in and just do massive damage in terms of upgrading our roster. Now, the argument to that is this: we already have a strong roster. We don't have any holes. We could already win 12 or 13 games. Yeah, that might be true, but we still didn't get massive impact players that we know could come in right now and just put it down and take the team to the next level. It was no eye-popping picks. Although some good picks, in my opinion, with Mazi Smith, I think even Overshawn gives us some good depth. But, you know, other than that, it was mainly, for me, a depth draft for the Cowboys, all right? It was a depth draft and a rotational player type draft for the Cowboys, all right? So, guys, moving on, man, to my next team in the NFC East. And then let me know what you think about this, guys, because, look, I'm looking at several of these guys in particular, like the Giants. We'll talk about those guys next. So the Giants, with their first pick, they move up to take the cornerback from Maryland, which was Deonte Banks. He was a good cornerback, man, but kind of a sneaky, slippery, good pick, in my opinion, was John Michael Schmitz. He's the center out of Minnesota. All right, so he's the second pick for the New York Giants. They have Jalen Hyatt in the third round, speedster, wide receiver out of Tennessee. I think that's a good pickup. Eric Gray, not a bad complimentary pickup. He's a running back out of Oklahoma. You got Trey Hawkins the third out of Old Dominion. He's a cornerback. You got Jordan Riley out of Oregon, defensive tackle, and you got Javarius Owens, safety out of my alma mater, U of H. All right. So overall, I mean, look, for their needs and what they need to do, I'm gonna give their draft a solid B. That's my opinion, a solid B. You know, they need help at corner, right? They just re-signed Daniel Jones. You know, he's making $40 million per now. Amazing. But anyway, sidebar conversation. Hey, look. They got a big center, a big, good, solid center out of Minnesota to help that offensive line. They got faster from the wide receiver position, and they got a guy that could come in and tote the ball in light of a Saquon Barkley that has been often injured. So not a bad job adding some depth at safety and at the defensive line position. So that draft makes them a little bit stronger. It just makes them a little bit more solid, right? And that's just my opinion. That's how I see it. That's what I think. Now, on to the Eagles. The Eagles, with the first pick of their draft in the first round, they get Jalen Carter, defensive tackle out of the University of Georgia. This one hurts a little bit because, I mean, look, they got Jordan Davis last year. You know, he's a big old space eater, one technique, who, when he was in, did a pretty solid job for him. They lost Hargraves. Well, they easily replace him with a young guy that'll come in and really have some impact. I think probably day one, Jalen Carter. And then also they got Milton Williams out of La Tech, man, who's an underrated rotational defensive tackle who I was high on a couple years ago coming out of La Tech. The guy runs a 4.6. He's 290 pounds, strong as an ox. So they got some pieces, man, in terms of that interior defensive line. And so overall, they should be solid. But this is also what they did. They got Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith was the speedy defensive end out of Georgia. Look, you know, he's a speed guy. He didn't have the production that you wanted, but they're adding more speed. They're adding, you know, just more talent, more depth. They got kind of a good, solid, sneaky offensive lineman, Tyler Stern, out of Alabama. Again, making sure they got the depth on that offensive line. They got Sidney Brown out of Illinois. They got Keely Ringo, very fast cornerback, out of Georgia. But, man, the dude got tight hips. I don't think he turns well. I don't think he opens that well. They're going to work with him. But, again, they're adding some depth. Also, you got Tanner McGee. I think that's a sneaky good pickup. Backup quarterback out of Stanford University. A smart guy, cerebral guy, and a guy that can run the offense. And then they get Moro Ojomo, defensive tackle out of Texas. So, you know, overall, man, for their needs and them already winning the NFC East and them already coming out of the NFC East to go to the Super Bowl, I'm going to give their draft an A. I think they scored an A, man. They had a good, solid draft, a lot of pieces to complement and even come in and help your team, if I'm being completely honest. Now, last but definitely not least, or maybe least, you got the Washington Commanders. All right. So the Washington Commanders, man, they get Emmanuel Forbes, good cornerback out of Mississippi State. You know, not a bad player. They also they double down, right? They double dip and pick 47 of the second round. They get Jatarvius Martin. Excuse the pronunciation. Jatarvius Martin, cornerback out of Illinois. All right. And then they get, with pick 97 in the third round, the center, Rick Stromberg, out of Arkansas. And you know what? Going against those defensive tackles that he's got to go against every single day, Ricky Stromberg, that guy, he's going to get better in a hurry. Not saying he's a bad player now, but for sure, that guy is going to be forced to get better in a hurry, man. Going against Payne and going against Josh Allen every day in practice. Could you imagine that? Man, that guy got his work cut out for him. But anyway, they got also another guard, Braden Daniels out of Utah. Big, strong guard out of Utah. Does a lot of good things. Defensive end, a good player that played opposite of a guy I did a video comparison breakdown on with our third round draft pick not too long ago, opposite of Miles out of Clemson, the late round first pick for I forget what team he goes to, but he was a first round pick, KJ Henry, which played opposite of Miles at Clemson. So good pickup in the fifth round from a defensive end position. Chris Rodriguez, running back out of Kentucky, not a bad pickup, man, big guy. I mean, he really doesn't move well, but he's more of like a power back, power runner, but solid physical player. And then they got Andre Jones, all right, defensive end out of Louisiana. So, look, you know, overall, man, they got a lot to build. They got a lot to get better at, but they got a solid front four is what they have going for them. Or let's say a solid front seven for sure on the defense if you're talking about the Washington Commanders. So I'm giving their draft class a C+. Yeah, C+. I'll give them a C+ for what they did. I think they did a solid job overall, guys. So I want to know what you think. I want to know your thoughts. All right, who do you think won the arms race thus far, right, as of today? This is subject to change based upon us getting into the regular season and training camp, but who won the arms race? And look, I know some of you guys go hate me for saying this. I know you're not going to like the OC for keeping it real with you, but I'm going to keep it real with you anyway, man. I'm going to say at the NFC East, the person who got the best draft was the Eagles. I think the Cowboys still can beat the Eagles, though. I think we should beat the Eagles. But at the end of the day, man, I think they had the better draft than us. But anyway, drop your comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think, man. Follow Boss Cowboy Sports on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can follow me, the OC100, on Twitter. And until next time, salute.